Canon released Firmware 1.2.0 for the EOS R5 Mark II at the beginning of November. And you may be wondering why I am talking about it only now. Because I did not want to rush this. I wanted real-world testing, real travel conditions, real pressure, real facts, no speculation. So I took this firmware to Kuala Lumpur and to Geneva, and I tested intensively before making this video. So before we go further, I am on a mission to reach 10K subscribers or 10,000 subscribers on this channel. So if you value real-world testing, honest firmware breakdown, and not just press release hype, please smash the subscribe button for me and help me reach that 10K goal. Is genuinely make a massive difference. 1 subscriber will take us there. Now, let's talk about what actually changed on my R5 Mark II after firmware 1.2.0. So, Canon said this update would. Here is a quick breakdown of what Canon says firmware 1.2.0 bring to the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. First, support for the new EOS Multi Remote, Canon Advanced Multi-Camera Control System. Second, a fix for distorted light view, and R70 when shooting multi-exposure in dark. Third, a fix for R41 when transferring image to FTP servers. Fourth, improved capability for certain CFexpress cards that could not be formatted in camera. And finally, general system stability improvement. On paper, my friend, it looked safe. But during my own tests, I found something much more concerning. Now, I want to be very clear. This may not affect every R5 Mark II, but this is my camera, my workflow, my travel conditions, and my documented experience. Let's talk about the first and most critical issue that I experienced when recording in low light. Before I even press the record button, the image looks extremely noisy. You can see from this example. But the moment I press record, the footage suddenly cleans up. And you can see that. This clearly means noise reduction is only being applied after the record button is pressed. So standby view equal very noisy. Recording view suddenly cleaner. That is not normal behavior for a flagship hybrid camera like the R5 Mark II. And to be honest with you, it actually feels like low light performance has gotten worse, not better, with this new firmware update. In low light, 120 frames per second become extremely noisy, far noisier than it should be. So noisy that the footage is almost unusable without heavy noise reductions. And even that, I'm not sure you can use it in a professional setting. This behavior did not exist before this firmware update. So I asked a critical question. Is this happening across Canon other camera too? Because I never realized that. I never seen that before. Or this is only happening on the R5 Mark II after the firmware 1.2.0. To make sure that what I'm seeing is out of ordinary, I ran control test comparison with the R5C and also the C80. I use the base ISO for comparison. I use the ISO 800 because that's the best ISO for all of them. So no mistake here. Same subject, same lighting conditions, same exposure, logic. And here are the results. And the result was crystal clear. R5C clean and stable, whether you press record or not. C80 clean and stable, no sudden noise shift before and after pressing record button. Only on the R5 Mark II show this strange behavior. I mean, this proves one thing, something very, very important. This is not a universal Canon issue. This is not a sensor generation limitation. This strongly points to a firmware-specific bug introduced in the R5 Mark II Firmware 1.2.0. And that's a serious technical finding that by waiting a little bit, by testing accordingly, intensively, I realized this. Now, one more honest observation. Since this firmware update, I feel like battery drain is happening a little quicker, and this with the official Canon LPE6P battery, not the third-party battery. But while I was in Kuala Lumpur and I was in Geneva, I realized that the battery depleted very quickly. So let me say this clearly. If you are thinking of updating your R5 Mark II to firmware 1.2.0, you must now be aware of that. Low light processing behavior has clearly changed. And I really believe, really deep in me, that is a bug with this new firmware update. And this behavior does not exist on the R5C or the C80 under identical conditions. Lens recognition failed twice with a native Canon RF L series lens, but I think that maybe it's not firmware related. But yes, want to let you know. Online update is still unreliable. I mean, using the card, for me, I find it much faster than the online. Battery behavior need control testing. That hopefully, I'm going to be testing in the next, couple of weeks, and then we will see. If anything there, I will report. This does not mean your camera will behave the same way as mine. But from my standpoint of view, it does strongly suggest that firmware 1.2.0 may have introduced a new R5 Mark II specific bug. So my friend, now I want to hear from you. Have you updated your R5 Mark II to firmware 1.2.0? Did you notice low light behavior changing? Have you had lens recognition issue? Or was your online update smooth or frustrating? My friend, how is your battery life? Please share your experience in the comment box below, because the R5 owners community out there will really appreciate to learn from your experience. Good or bad? Everybody, including me, I want real data from the community. Helping us drive the conversation forward. So that if it's the issue, if it's a bug, so then Canon will know about it and Canon will fix it, for us. So my friend, here is my honest verdict. On paper, firmware 1.2.0 looks safe. It's no major update, just few tweak here and there. But in real-world control testing, it introduced new behavior that only appears on the R5 Mark II. That doesn't make the camera bad, not at all, because I tested intensively. But it does mean this firmware is not fully polished. And Canon need to investigate this urgently. And you know that this firmware was was released to fix the previous firmware, but now still have some bugs. So my friend, if you respect this kind of honest, non-sponsored, real-world firmware testing, real-world gear reviews, I'm asking you to hit this like button. And please, smash the subscribe button as we push toward 10,000 subscribers. Your support helps me keep testing this camera properly and share the truth as I see it. All those cameras, all those gear, I buy with my own money, so I can say only the truth. I'm not guided by nobody. I'm just guided by the fact. So, I'm asking you also to drop your experience in the comment below. My friend, update safe, test everything, and Hakuna Matata, my friend. God bless you and protect you, and I will see you in my next video. Ciao, bye now.